It's the Edexcel GCSE Maths Foundation Non-Calculator Paper 1 from November 2023. Let's get straight into it. Question 1. Here is a list of numbers. Work out the range of these numbers. To work out the range, all we need to do is take the smallest number away from the largest number. So we're doing the maximum, take away the minimum. The largest number here is 8. The smallest number is 2, so it's 8 take away 2, which is 6. Question 2. Work out 120 take away 89. I'd rather have this as a multiple of 10 just to make it easier. So I'm going to add 1 to that number, and I'm also going to add 1 to that number. So then my new question will be 121 take away 90. To get from 90 to 120, that would be 30. So it's going to be 31. Question 3. Simplify 3 multiplied by a multiplied by 4. First thing I need to do is multiply my numbers together. So I've got 12 multiplied by a. Whenever we're multiplying with algebra, we don't need to write the multiplying sign. We'll just write 12a. Question 4. Measure the size of this angle marked x. So you measure this. It's an angle less than 90 degrees. It's an acute angle. You would measure it at 40 degrees, and you could have an answer between 38 and 42. Question 5. Work out 1/5 of 300. So I need to divide it by 5, my denominator, and multiply it by 1. Multiplying by 1 doesn't do anything, so all I need to do is divide it by 5. 300 divided by 5. I know 30 divided by 5 is 6, and I have 1 0, so it's going to be 60. Question 6. There are 3 litres of oil in a can. Germaine uses 700 millilitres of the oil. Work out the amount of oil left in the can. Give your answer in millilitres. The first thing that I'm going to do, because I can see this answer is in millilitres, I'm going to convert this into millilitres. So how many millilitres are there in 1 litre? When you go to the shop, what can you buy drinks in? You can buy them in cans, which are 330 millilitres. You can buy them in bottles, which are 500. Or you can buy the big bottles, which are going to be 1 litre or 2 litres. So the 1 litre is going to have to be more than 500. It's going to be 1000 millilitres. How much would 3 litres be? So I need to find 3 litres. On the left-hand side, what have I multiplied by to get from 1 to 3? I multiplied by 3. So on the right-hand side, I need to do the same thing. 1000 multiplied by 3, which would be 3000 millilitres. Germaine uses 700 millilitres, so I need to take 700 away from 3000. Doing 3000, take away 700. You could think of this as 30, take away 7, which is 23, and it's going to be 2300. So it's 2300 millilitres. Question 7. Matt is drawing a scale diagram. 1 centimetre represents 5 metres. I'm going to write that as a ratio 1 centimetre to 5 metres. He draws a line 3 centimetres long. What real distance does the line represent? Because he's drawing a line 3 centimetres long, I'm going to write this below the centimetres. What have I multiplied on the left-hand side? I multiplied by 3. I need to do the same thing to the right-hand side. 5 multiplied by 3 is 15, so it's 15 metres. The real distance between 2 points is 20 metres. What is the distance between the 2 points on the scale diagram? I'm going to start off by rewriting my ratio. So it's 1 centimetre to 5 metres, and we want 20 metres. So here on the right hand side, what have we multiplied by from 5 to 20? 20 divided by 5 is 4. So on the right hand side we multiplied by 4. On the left hand side we also need to multiply by 4. 1 multiplied by 4 is 4. So it's 4 centimetres. Question 8. Miss Bailey asked 24 students whether each wanted to go on a school trip. Here are the results. Complete the frequency table. I've got castles, farms and museums. I'm going to do my castles first. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So I'm going to write 11 as my frequency, and I need a tally chart where I have bars of 4 and a gate with 5. So that's 5, that's 10 and that's 11. Next I need to do my farms. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 bars of 4 with a gate at 5, and I need 2 more. That's 18 so far. There should be 6 because there's 24 students altogether. Let's just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Yeah, that's correct. So bars of 4 and a gate at 5, and I need 1 more. Part B, write down the place that is the mode. The mode is just the most common number, which is the most popular. So here, the place that would be most popular would be the castle. Question C, draw a bar chart to show the results. So I have castle, farm and museum, 11, 7 and 6. I'll just write that down. So castle, farm and museum, 11, 7 and 6. The first thing that I'm going to do is put my y-axis on. So I'm going to have my frequency on my y-axis. That's the one going up and down. And I think I have enough space for each bar to be 1. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I do have enough space, 12, 13, 14, and 15. I have castles, farms, and museums. I'm going to put castles here, farms here, and museums here. So I've got one bar and I've got a space between each of them. I just need to plot these on 11, 7, and 6. So 11, 7, and 6. And then I just need to draw my lines. Obviously, you do this with pencil just in case you make any mistakes. And that's finished. Question 9. Selena has a bag of 22 counters. 5 of the counters are blue, 9 of the counters are red, 8 of the counters are pink. Selena takes at random a counter from the bag. To write probabilities, we need the successes, so what we're looking for, over the amount of outcomes. So how many things could happen? We're looking for a red counter, so that would be 9 chances of having a success. And the amount of outcomes is the amount of counters, so it'd be 9 over 22, and you can't simplify that. Part 2 does not take a pink counter. So how many counters are pink? There's 8. So how many counters are not pink? We need to do 22 take away 8. That gives us 14. So it'd be 14 chances of success out of 22 possible ones. And that would simplify. You can divide both of these by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 22 divided by 2 is 11. Part 3 takes a white counter. So here we have blues, we have reds, we have pinks, but we don't have any whites. So that means we don't have the chance of getting a white counter. So the probability of that would just be 0. It can't happen at all. Question 10. Here are the ingredients needed to make 20 peanut butter cookies. Derek wants to make 60 cookies. He has 900 grams of peanut butter. Does Derek have enough peanut butter to make 60 cookies? Show how you get your answer. If we have a recipe for 20 cookies, how could we scale it up to get 60 cookies? How many times does 20 go into 60? We need to multiply by 3. So that would be 20 times by 3, which gives me 60. We care about the peanut butter, so I just need to multiply the peanut butter also by 3. If I do my 25 times table, 25, 50, 75, that would be 75 with 1 0. I need 750 grams of peanut butter for a recipe of 60 cookies. Derek has 900 grams, and 900 is more than 750. So we can write 900 is greater than 750. Therefore, Derek has enough peanut butter for 60 cookies. Question 11. On the grid, draw an enlargement of the triangle with a scale factor of 3. Enlargement just means I need to multiply all of these sides by 3. So on the base, I can see I've got a length of 1, 2. I need to multiply this by 3, so 2 times by 3 is 6. So I need a base of 6. I'll start from here and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I'm going to look at that height. I'd rather look at the height than these diagonal lines because it'll just be a little bit easier. So that height is 3. So I need to multiply that by 3 as well, and it's going to be a height of 9. So if I look at the middle, over here, I'm going to count up 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 would be here. I just need to connect all of those up. Question 12. P is equal to 2G plus 4H. Work out the value of P when G equals 3 and H equals 5. So we're substituting into this equation. We have the values of G and H, we just need to swap them with the values of G and H here. And remembering, if a letter is next to the number, if the variable is next to a coefficient, we're multiplying them together. So P is equal to 2 multiplied by G, which we know is 3, plus 4 times by H, which is 5. 2 times by 3 is 6, and 4 times by 5 is 20. 20 add 6 would give me 26. Part 2. Work out the value of G when P equals 38 and H equals 3. So this time we know what P is and we know what H is, but we're trying to find out what G is. So I'll swap this P with 38. 38 is equal to 2 lots of G, we don't know what that is, we're trying to find where it is, plus 4 lots of H. 4 lots of H, which is 3. So 4 times by 3. We can simplify this bit, 4 times by 3. So I've got 38 is equal to 2G, 4 times by 3 is 12. Now I need to solve this equation. What's happening to this G? It's multiplied by 2 and then we're adding 12. So we need to undo this adding 12 first. We're going to take away 12 from both sides. I'll take away 12 there and I'll take away 12 there. 38 take away 12 is 26 is equal to 2G. And this 12 take away 12 will cancel each other out. So we're left with the 2G. So G is just being multiplied by 2. So to get rid of that 2 here, I need to do the opposite of that, which is dividing by 2. 26 divided by 2 is 13. So 13 is equal to G. You can just write 13 there. Part B. Work out the value of V when R is equal to -3 and Q equals 2. V is equal to 3 multiplied by -3, take away 2. I've got a positive multiplied by a negative. So a positive multiplied by a negative, it's mixed sign, so it's going to give me a negative answer. So 3 multiplied by -3 is going to be a negative, and 3 times by 3 is 9. And then I've got this minus 2 on the end. Then I've got -9 take away 2. So if you think about it, I'm going left on my number line. I'm going away from 0, so it's -9 take away 2. -9 take away 1 is -10, and then it's -11. So -11 is my answer. Question 13. Chloe is making scrunchies. Chloe has a large number of hairbands. Each hairband costs 8p. She buys 100 grams of wool for £3. Chloe uses 1 hairband and 5 grams of wool to make each scrunchie. She makes as many scrunchies as she can. Work out the total cost of each scrunchie that she makes. Give your answer in pence. So the scrunchie is made up of 1 hairband. I'll just write it as HB and 5 grams of wool. 5 grams of wool. How much does the hairband cost? It costs 8p. I'll just write 8, and we want 5 grams of wool. Because this is in pounds, I'd rather have it in pence because my answer is going to be in pence as well. So I'm going to change this into pence. How many pence are in £1? £1 is equal to 100 pence. So £3 is going to be equal to 300 pence. I know 100 grams is equal to this 300 pence. And we want 5 grams of wool because that's how much is in each scrunchie. What have I divided by to get from 100 to 5? Divided by 20. So I need to do the same thing to the right hand side. I'm going to do 300 divided by 20. I'm going to do this just below. I'll write it as a fraction because I think it'll be easier. 300, this fraction is a divide symbol as well. 300 divided by 20. I'll cancel out these zeros and I'm left with 30 divided by 2, which is 15. So 5 grams is equal to 15 pence. So the hairband is 8p. And the 5 grams of wool is 15p, so I just need to add those two together. 8 and 15 would give me 23 pence. Question 14. On the grid, draw the graph of y is equal to 4x minus 1 for the values of x from -2 to 2. So one way you could do this is using a table of values and find out each value of y. But of doing that, I'll try to do it in a smarter way. There's 2 parts of an equation of a line. There's the gradient, the m value, the number before the x, and there's this bit on its own, the constant or the y-intercept. It's where the graph crosses the y-axis, the one going up and down. So I already have a point. Because I've got this -1, it's telling me that it crosses over there. The gradient is telling me for every 1 across, I'm going up by 4. So every 1 across, I go up by 4. If I have 1 point here and I go across by 1, remember this is at 0 and this is at 1, so I don't stop here, I stop at 1. For every 1 across, I need to go up by 4. I'm at -1, so I need to go up to 3. I'm going to do that one more time. So I'm going to go across by 1 and up by 4. That would take me up there. You could do the same thing in reverse. You go backwards by 1 and you're going to go down by 4. So that would be at -5. And do that one more time. That would be at -9. And then I'm just going to draw a straight line going through all of those. And that's my finish line. One way you can check this is if you take a point, you can substitute 2 in, because 2 is my x value. I should get a y value of 7. So let's substitute 2 into here. If x is 2, I'm hoping to get 7. Y is equal to 4 multiplied by 2. Take away 1. 4 times by 2 is 8, and 8 take away 1 does give me 7. So that 0.27 is correct, and you could check another one if you really wanted to. Question 15. Steve is buying a car. The car costs £12,000. Steve pays 25% of the cost as a deposit. He pays the rest of the cost in 20 equal monthly payments. How much is each monthly payment? Steve's paid part of the money up front, and then he's paying the rest of the money in monthly payments. So we need to find out what 25% is first. What's 25% as a fraction? It's 1/4. So I need to find 1/4 of 12,000. So 25% of 12,000. It's the same as finding 1/4, so I just need to divide it by 4. What's 12,000 divided by 4? 12 divided by 4 is 3, so it's going to be 3,000. So Steve pays 3,000 at the very start. So I'm going to do 12,000, take away the 3,000 that he's paid so far. 12 take away 3 is 9, so it's 9,000 that he has to pay remaining. He's going to split that into 20 equal monthly payments, so I need to divide this number that he has left to pay by 20. 9,000 divided by 20, cancel off the zeros, I've got 900 divided by 2. You could do 90 divided by 2, which is 45, and I need one more zero. So each month he's going to be paying £450. If I time this by 20, and then I added on the 3,000, I should get 12,000. Question 16. Shah takes an exam. The exam is out of 60 marks. Shah needs to score at least 70% of the marks to pass the exam. He scores 45 marks. Show that Shah passes the exam. Because we know we need 70% to get a pass, let's find 70% of 60. What would 10% of 60 be? How do you find 10%? All we need to do is divide this by 10. So 60 divided by 10 would be 6. I want 70%, so I'll write 70% here. On the left-hand side, what have I multiplied to get from 10 to 70? I've multiplied by 7. On the right-hand side, I need to multiply by 7 as well. And 6 times by 7 is 42. So that means you need 42 marks to pass. He scores 45 marks. So 45 is more than 42, so that means he does pass. Therefore, Shah passes the exam. Question 17. Work out 3/5 divided by 1/6 and give your answer as a mixed number. If you're dividing fractions, you can use the keep, flip, change method, where you keep the first fraction, you flip the second fraction, so it's going to become 6/1. It's called finding the reciprocal, and you're going to change the divide sign to a multiply. Then to multiply fractions, all you do is multiply across. So I'm going to do 3 times by 6, which is 18, and 5 times by 1, which is 5. I want my answer as a mixed number, so right now this is an improper fraction, it's top heavy. So I need to think how many whole numbers are in this, how many 5s fit into 18. There's 5, 10, 15, so that's 3. What's my remainder? That's 3 again. And because my denominator here was 5, my denominator here will also be 5, so it's 3 and 3/5. Question 18. Work out 6.3 times by 2.4. If you're multiplying and you have decimals, you're going to ignore the decimals and you'll just multiply them as normal, and then you'll add the decimals back in at the end. So I'm doing 63 times by 24. 4 times by 3 is 12. 4 times by 6 is 24. Add the 1, which is 25. Because I'm multiplying by 20, not by 2, I put a 0 first. 2 times by 3 is 6. 2 times by 6 is 12. Just need to add these up. 2 add 0 is 2. 5 add 6 is 11. 2 add 2 is 4, add 1 is 5, and 1 add nothing is just 1. So I've got 1,512, which would be the answer to that question. But I want to work out 6.3 times 2.4. Before I change this to an answer, before I want to estimate what it should be, if I had 6 times by 2, it would be 12. So my answer needs to be around 12. The way I answer these, I count how many decimal places are in the question. There's 1, 2. So I need to move my decimal point back 2 places. Right now, it's at the end of this number, so it's going to move back 1, 2. So it would be between those, and that's quite close to 12, so I'm happy with that. Question 19. Write down the value of 5 to the power of 0. One fact that you need to know at GCSE is anything to the power of 0 is always going to be 1. It doesn't matter what that number would be. It could be negative, it could be 35, it could be 104. But if it's to the power of 0, it will always be 1. So the answer to that is just 1. Part 2, write down the value of 5 to the power of negative 2. If you have a negative, the first thing that you need to do is get rid of that negative. The way you do that is you find the reciprocal of it, you flip it. So it's going to become 1 over 5. That negative has disappeared because we flipped it, 5 squared. What is 5 squared? 5 times 5, which is just 25. Part B, write 2 to the power of 5 times 2 to the power of 4 divided by 2 to the power of 3 in the form 2 to the power of something where n is an integer. Integer just means a whole number, a counting number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First thing I'm going to concentrate on is this numerator, the top bit. 2 to the power of 5 times by 2 to the power of 4. If you have the same base, the 2's are the base, and you're multiplying, you just add the powers together. So I'm going to do 2 to the power of 5 add 4. That's being divided by 2 to the power of 3, and 5 add 4 is 2 to the power of 9. Then I've got this divide by 2 to the power of 3. So when I'm dividing and I have the same base, I just take away the powers. So I'm doing 9 take away 3. So it's 2 to the power of 9 take away 3, and 9 take away 3 is 2 to the power of 6. Question 20. Write 156 as a product of its prime factors. So for this type of question, I need to use a prime factor tree. I start off with 156. I just need to think of any pair of factors that go into 156. Because this ends in a 6, I'm going to divide it by 2 because it's an even number. And 2 is a prime number, so I need to circle that. 156 divided by 2. Let's see what that gives me. 2's going to 15 7 times with a remainder of 1. 2's going to 16 8 times, so it's 78. So I've got 2 multiplied by 78, which gives me 156. 78 is a prime number, so I need to continue that on. This is also divisible by 2. That's a prime, so I circle it. 38 divided by 2 is 39. 39 is a prime number. I know it divides by 3 because 3 and 9 add up to make 12. And 12 is in my 3 times table. So I'm going to put 3, which is also a prime. And 3 times by 13 would give me 39. So now I've got all my prime numbers. I can write this as a product, which just means that it's been multiplied together. So 156 is equal to 2 times 2 times by 3 times by 13. I could write it as 2 squared times by 3 times by 13. Both would be fine. Part B, find the highest common factor of 156, 130. I've already found my prime factors 156, so I'm going to write that 156 is equal to 2 squared times by 3 times by 13. And I can see there's a 13 here and there's a 13 here, so 13 will be a factor of 130. So 130 is equal to 13, and I do 130 divided by 13, I get 10, and 10 is made up out of 2 times by 5. I need to find the highest common factor here, which is the largest number that I could divide both of these by. And I'm started off by writing the prime factors of both of these. I've wrote them in index form just to make it a little bit easier. To find the highest common factor, all I need to do is find the lowest power of the common factors. I can see there's a 13 here and there's a 13 here, and the power of that would be just 13. So the highest common factor is 13 so far. I've done that one. Of the 2, there's a 2 that's common in both of them, and the lowest power is 2 to the power of 1. I wouldn't write 2 squared. The lowest power is 2 to the power of 1. So I just write 2. That's that one done. There's nothing in common with the 3, and there's nothing in common with the 5. So that's finished off. So my highest common factor is just 13 multiplied by 2, double 13, which is 26. The largest number I could divide both of these by would be 26. Question 21. The mean length of 5 sticks is 4.2 centimeters. Now we'll measure the length of one stick as 7 centimeters. Work out the mean length of the other 4 sticks. So I've got 5 sticks, and one of the sticks is 7 centimeters. I need to find the mean of these 4 numbers. How do we normally find mean? The mean is equal to the total, that's all of them added up together, divided by the frequency. That's how many numbers there are. And we can use this fact to substitute into here. We know what the mean is, it's 4.2, and we know what the frequency is, it's going to be 5. We can find out what the total is from that. So the mean is 4.2, and that's equal to the total. We don't know what that is, so I'm going to label it as x divided by the frequency, and that's 5. X is being divided by 5, so I need to multiply by 5 on both sides. Easy way to multiply by 5 is you can times it by 10 and then divide it by 2. I think this one would be easier for this one. 4.2 times by 10 is 42, and if you divide it by 2, it's 21. So 21 is equal to x. That's my total. So the total of all of these numbers is 21. I know that one of the numbers is 7, so if I take away 7, 21 take away 7 is equal to 14. That means all of these 4 numbers will be equal to 14. I need to find the mean length of the other 4, so I need to do 14, that's my total, divided my frequency, there's 4 numbers, 14 divided by 4, just simplify that. Both of these divide by 2, so 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Leave it like this, 7 over 2. You could change it to 3.5, but it's not worth the effort. Now we made a mistake, the stick was not 7 centimeters long, it was 17 centimeters long. How does this affect your answer to part A? So in this question, we took away 7 instead of 17. So let's just imagine we took away 17 instead. We would have 21 take away 17, which would give us 4. And so the total of the 4 numbers is 4. And there's 4 numbers altogether. So 4 divided by 4 would be 1. Our mean would be smaller. So it affects our answer by part A by the mean would be smaller. It would be 1 centimeter. Question 22. The point P lies on the line AB. Use ruler and compasses to construct an angle of 90 degrees at P. You must show all of your construction lines. I've got P over here, and I need to take my compass. I'm just going to put it at any point, and I'm going to draw a circle from the center at P. I'm going to move my compass over to one of the points where it crosses that line. I'm going to change the length, so just increase it slightly, so it goes past that point P. Just lock that in, and I'm going to draw a circle from there. And I'm going to do the same where it crossed here at the line. So I've drawn two circles, and you can see that point of intersection with those two circles, it'll create a 90-degree angle. So I just need to connect those two up. Just draw that on, so that would be 90 degrees. Question 23. The diagram shows an isosceles triangle ABD and the straight line ABC. BA is equal to BD, so this line is equal to that line, the length of them. And if this is an isosceles triangle, the base angles, the one that is at the same length, will be the same as each other. So this angle is X. I could also label this as X. X to Y is equal to 2 to 1. So I could write X to Y is equal to 2 to 1. Work out the value of W. We're trying to find this angle. So first, let's think, how do X and Y relate to each other? I know X is double Y, so I could say X is equal to 2 lots of Y. So I've just translated this ratio into an equation. Easy way to do it is if you cross multiply. 1 times by X is X, and 2 times by Y is 2Y. So now that I know X is 2Y, I'm going to replace these X's with Y's. So X is 2Y, that will be 2Y, and that will be 2Y. And I've got a triangle, and all of the letters are the same, which is good, so I can solve it. If there were different letters, I wouldn't be able to solve it. I'm going to collect up all my Y's. 2Y plus 2Y plus Y. So 2 lots of Y plus 2 lots of Y is 4 lots of Y, plus 1 lot of Y, which is 5 lots of Y. So 5Y, that's going to be equal to angles in a triangle. So 5Y is equal to 180. Y is being multiplied by 5, so I need to divide by 5, the opposite of that. Divide by 5 on both sides. An easy way to do this is if you divide by 10, and then you times it by 2. So Y is equal to 180 divided by 10 is 18, and 18 times by 2 is 36. So Y is 36. I can see here I've got angles on a straight line. What do angles on a straight line add up to? It's going to be 180. So W will be 180 take away 36. 180 take away 36 would be 144. That's my final answer. Question 24. Manu has 3 shelves of books. There are X books on shelf A, that many books on shelf B, that many books on shelf C. There is a total of 44 books on the 3 shelves. All the books have the same mass. The books on shelf B have a total mass of 7,500 grams. Work out the total mass of the books on shelf A. So we're trying to find out the weight of those books. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is figure out how many books there are altogether. I need to create 2 equations. One of the equations will be concerning how many books we have. And the second equation, once we find out how many books we have in shelf B, we can create an equation that figures out how much each book weighs. Let's first figure out how many books are on each shelf. We've got 3x plus 1. I'm just writing that first to make it a little bit easier. 2x minus 5 and x. And I'd write it with the x's above each other and the numbers that are on their own above each other, just to make it easier to add up. 1 take away 5, which is 4. 3 add 2, which is 5. And 5 add 1, which is 6. So I have 6x minus 4. This 6x minus 4 is equal to 44. That's how many books we have altogether on all of the shelves. Need to solve this equation. What's happening to this x? It's being multiplied by 6, and then we're taking away 4. So we need to get rid of this take away 4 first. The opposite of taking away 4 is adding 4. So 6x is equal to 44 add 4, which is 48. Being multiplied by 6, so I divide by 6 on both sides. X will be equal to 48 divided by 6, which is 8. So there's 8 books on shelf A, but we don't know what each book weighs. So I need to find out the amount of books that I have on shelf B, find out the weight of each book. So if we have 3x plus 1 books, and x is equal to 8, which we just found, if I substitute 8 into here, 3 times by 8 plus 1, 3 times by 8 is 24, and 24 add 1, which is 25. So there are 25 books on shelf B. I need to find the weight of each book, so I've got 25, and I'll just write W for the weight is equal to 7,500. I need to divide both sides by 25. 75 divided by 25 is 3, and I need 2 more zeros. That's telling me that each book on the shelf weighs 300 grams. I know there's X amount of books, there's 8 books, and each book weighs 300, so final step is 8 times by 300, which is 2,400 grams or 2.4 kilos. Question 25. A piece of glass has a mass of 27 grams and a volume of 10 centimeters cubed. Work out the density of the piece of glass. The formula that we're using here for density is mass, density, and volume. That's a formula triangle. So density is equal to the mass divided by the volume. The mass here is 27 and the volume is 10. So I just need to do 27 divided by 10. I'm moving the decimal point one place back, so it's going to be 2.7. Question 26. Work out an estimate for 5.7 times 8.2 divided by 0.26. First thing I'm going to do is round all of these to one significant figure. So 5.7, my line would go between the 5 and the 7, and that would round up to 6. The 8.2 would round down to 8, and this 0.26, my first significant figure here is the 2. I don't count zeros if I'm rounding significant figures, so my line goes between the 2 and the 6, and this would round up to 0.3. And 6 times 8 is 48, divided by 0.3. It's a little bit tricky to divide by decimals, so instead of divided by decimals, I'm going to try and remove this decimal on the denominator. So I can change this, I can make it an equivalent fraction by timesing the bottom by 10 and the top by 10. That will get rid of this decimal on the bottom. 48 times by 10 is 480, and 0.3 times by 10 is 3. I need to do 480 divided by 3, so 480 divided by 3. 3 is going to 4 once with a remainder of 1. 3 is going to 18 6 times, so it's going to be 160. Question 27. Expand and simplify 3x plus 2 in brackets and 2x minus 5 in brackets. Whenever I've got double brackets, I'm multiplying everything in the first bracket by everything in the second bracket. So I'm doing 3x times by 2x first. 3 times by 2 is 6, and x times by x is x squared. 3x times by negative 5, it's going to be a negative because it's a positive times by a negative. 3 times 5 is 15, and I've got an x. Next, I need to do the 2 multiplied by 2x and 2 multiplied by negative 5. 2 times by 2x is 4x, and 2 times by negative 5 is negative 10. And if you take a look, we had 2 things multiplied by 2 things, so that means we should end up with 4 terms. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, so that means we've got enough terms. We've done it right. Last thing that we need to do is just collect up our like terms. So this bit in the middle will collect up. So it's 6x squared, negative 15, add 4. That would be negative 11, x, take away 10. Part B, factorize x squared minus 16. So we're factorizing this. It's going to be in double brackets. This is going to be a special case. It's called the difference of 2 squares. Because the number before this x squared is a 1, and that's a square number, and this 16 is also a square number, the way we would factorize this is we'll have 2 brackets, and the square root of x squared is x, so that goes into both brackets, and the square root of 16 is 4. So we write plus 4 in one of the brackets and minus 4 in the other bracket. And if you expanded that out, you would get that. That's the end of the questions for today. I'd recommend you go through all of the questions and write down the topics that you struggle with before you attempt another past paper. Feel free to contact me or reach out if you need any help with anything. Otherwise, you can watch my channel for more walkthroughs and work solutions. I'll see you soon.